Welcome back to the Crest Podcast, the show where we dig into the latest trends in the startup world and ask the tough questions no one else will. Today, we're going to talk about fractional CTOs for early stage startups. Why do they exist? Are they just a clever way to save money, or do they bring real value? To help answer these questions, I have with me Alex, who's worked with multiple startups as a fractional CTO in Silicon Valley. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
All right, let's get straight to it. What exactly is a fractional CTO, and why should startups hire one instead of just getting a full-time CTO? Or are they just glorified tech consultants?
So, a fractional CTO is someone who provides the expertise of a chief technology officer, but on a fractional basis. They have a deeper, longer-term commitment to the company compared to a consultant and are part of your leadership team. Consultants often focus on one-off projects, but a fractional CTO will help with everything from tech strategy and roadmaps to hiring engineers and managing the development process. You're not just paying for advice, you're getting someone who's part of your leadership team who is also getting their hands dirty. All this without the high cost or equity dilution of a full-time hire.
So if the CTO is only around for, 10 hours a week, how can they possibly have enough skin in the game to care about long-term company goals? Aren't you just putting a Band-Aid on a larger problem, like the company not being ready to hire real leadership?
That's a valid concern, but here's the thing. Startups often don't need a full-time CTO in the early days, and investors don't want to see you waste money on unnecessary resources. Of course, it depends on the product you are building. But for 95% of startups, I see a technical co-founder is not actually needed. What startups need is someone to steer them in the right direction and help make key technical decisions. It's like having high-caliber expertise without the high-caliber price tag of a full-time executive. We saw in the projects that I was involved with that startups with senior-level technical leadership tend to reduce time to market by up to 20% and increase product efficiency by up to 30%.
So it's about saving money and time. Got it?
It's not just about saving money, though yes, cost efficiency is a factor. It's also about flexibility. Startups pivot a lot, especially in the early stages, and bringing in a full-time high-salary CTO too early can be a misstep. A fractional CTO allows the company to be nimble, and if the company grows and needs a full-time CTO, then great. At that point, you've probably validated your business enough, found product market fit, and have done the work to deserve that full-time CTO.
Can you be a bit more specific? What is the typical work you can expect a fractional CTO to do?
A fractional or acting CTO spends around 10 hours per week. The work involved ranges. For me, it includes defining and overseeing the product development roadmap and timeline, helping the founder define what product needs to be built now and what features are most relevant and feasible with the budget. I help define the right MVP to test. I set up the right engineering team structure for growth. For instance, my founders sometimes don't know if they need a full-stack engineer or someone who knows Angular. I help them with job descriptions, interviews, define the system architecture, show them how to lead agile development processes, and suggest the right tools so everybody has full transparency.
That sounds like a full-time job to me. But let's flip the script. Why do you do this? Why not just become a full-time CTO at one of these companies if you're so involved?
I love the variety and the challenge of working with 2 to 3 different teams, different products, and different problems. Being a fractional CTO allows me to make a real impact without being tied down to a single company's day-to-day grind. Plus, I get to work with multiple companies across different industries, which keeps me on my toes and constantly learning.
So you're saying it's more about you wanting flexibility than it is about the needs of the startup. Is that right?
You are funny. It's a win-win, at least that's how my clients see it. I get to apply my expertise across multiple companies, and the startups get access to senior-level leadership without the cost or long-term commitment. If it's done right, everyone benefits.
Still, isn't there a danger that you're spreading yourself too thin? I mean, how many companies can one fractional CTO realistically handle?
You have to manage carefully. It's all about setting expectations and being really disciplined with time management. This is where Crest Collective, the group I'm part of that has a pool of fractional CXOs, comes in. They vet everybody and make sure we're not first-time fractionals who just jumped from Google into a startup. If I can't be there when needed, then I'm not doing my job right, and that's on me.
Interesting. Okay, before we wrap up, if you could give one piece of advice to a startup founder considering hiring a fractional CTO, what would it be?
Make sure you're hiring someone who's not just technically competent, but also has the experience to help guide your overall strategy. The fractional CTO should align with your company's vision, and they need to have the leadership chops to make things happen, even if they're fractional.
Got it. Well, I think that's a good note to end on. Thanks for joining us today, shedding some light on this whole fractional CTO thing.
Thanks for having me. It's been a great conversation.
All right, folks. That's a wrap for this episode of the Crest Podcast. If you are looking for a fractional CTO, check out Crest Collective and their pool of vetted fractional CTOs. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to hit subscribe and drop a review. See you next time.